The good old ammo can. The ammo can is arguably one of the most satisfying geocaching containers to go out there and find, at least in my opinion. I mean, sure, you have your Tupperware style containers, you have your preformed tubes, you have your micros, and barring like kind of really special containers, kind of the regular kinds of containers, ammo cans, and finding an ammo can in the woods is to me like the quintessential geocaching experience. So I have an ammo can, and for this particular one, I'm hoping to turn it into something special, something of a unique experience. Hey everyone, it is just Carlo, and welcome back to another episode of CraftACache. It's been a while since I've said those words. It's the first weekend of May, and among the many things to celebrate around this time of year, here in BC, the first weekend of May usually marks the launch of the Fraser Valley Cache Bash. This is an annual geocaching event where on one day, dozens of new geocaches all get published at the same time, and a bunch of geocachers will go out and race each other to find them first. And they want to find all the new hides. It's not just for one day, it lasts for the whole month. And at the end of that month, people get to vote and choose on some of their favorite geocaches. This will be our fourth year participating in the Cache Bash, and every year there is a new theme. And this year's theme is comics. Comics. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I grew up loving pop culture, like cartoons and comic books and movies. So this theme is definitely close to my heart. Our challenge for this is to turn this regular ammo can that we have into something that fits this theme. And as for the cache concept itself, well, you can say that it hit me like a comic book sound effect. I thought, what if the story of this geocache was that it came straight out of the pages of a graphic novel? So I had an idea, but the problem was we had very little time before the cache publishing deadline. I hadn't made it yet. I didn't know where I was going to hide it yet, and maybe just a little too ambitious. So needless to say, I had some work to do. So, starting with a bit of spray primer, and of course the proper safety equipment. You gotta have that proper safety equipment. I got to transforming this ammo can into a comic book element. But where am I actually going with all this? I was inspired by the 2D cafe trend. You might have seen this online or on Instagram or things like that. And if you don't know what it is, they are these real world environments, these real world spaces designed to look like you're in a comic book. Mostly black and white drawings. So designed to look like you're in black and white drawings, flat outlines, bold colors, hand-drawn textures, things like that. Everything looks like it's sketched. And when you are in these spaces, it looks like you are a part of the illustration. I was further inspired by the art of Michał Koziołek. He goes by the name CarSplashArt online, that's his online handle, and he mainly draws these anime-inspired cars, but he also has this really fun series that fits perfectly with this kind of illustrated 2D cafe comic book style. So check out these objects. They are all real, but they look like comic book illustrations. And the standout ones for me are these crates. Check out these crates. They look like they could be geocaches already, and they are just beautifully painted to look like flat illustrations. So shout out to CarSplashArt online for that inspiration. And with that in mind, I had to get to finishing my own illustrated ammo can. While we're waiting for that to dry, every cache, of course, needs a logbook. Now, I didn't want to use just a regular notebook or scraps of paper. I wanted to stay on theme. So we designed a cover that looks like a vintage pulp comic book. And I even cut it to the size of a real comic book. So it's a bit of an oversized logbook. So it's the size of a comic book. And just like any comic book, the fun is on the inside. The pages here are filled with blank comic book panels. So instead of just signing your geocaching name or stamping your geocaching handle, geocachers are actually invited to draw themselves as comic book characters. And in a way, they add themselves to the story. So whether you are a forest rogue or a GPS powered superhero or a mushroom with a cape, or maybe you are a monkey with a fast internet connection, the idea is that you draw yourself and add yourself to the story of this geocache. So it's an invitation to take your time with the cache and not just sign it and go, but take your time to draw yourself in there. So with the logbook designed, printed, stapled, I still had to finish the cache itself, and I still needed a place to hide it. And if you've seen some of my videos before, you know that sometimes for me, the most challenging thing about being a cache hider is actually finding a proper location to hide something, especially something as big as an ammo can. I mean, crafting it, sometimes that is actually the easy part. Finding a place to hide it, that's a whole different story. Now you're probably wondering how this all turned out. So after a few coats of primer, a few coats of white spray paint, and some distinct black lines that I had to paint on there meticulously, that took a few hours. And finally, with a clear coat on there to protect it all, the geocache was complete. And I'm actually really happy with the whole thing. Here is the final can, the cache can, all painted, all sketched out in our comic book theme. In the comments, let me know what you think of this look. Does it look like it came out of the pages of a comic book? All right, I found what I believe to be a good spot for this geocache. Well, that is our geocache, a not so average ammo can that I think fits into the comic theme. Oh, okay, I found a better location for this geocache, so I'm actually re-hiding it. It meant that I had to climb back up this hill to retrieve the cache and then move it. But I think this is a better spot for this. Every geocache needs a logbook, so here's the final one here. It's a comic book called Drawn to This from Cache Can Comics. There it is. GC code right there, and we have a little personalized greeting in this version of the comic. Here it goes. It says, "Hey, you found it. Put yourself in the comic." And the logbook invites people to draw themselves as comic book characters. That's our logbook. That, of course, has to go into a sealable plastic bag. For the first to find, they're gonna get this copy of The Greatest Treasure, the geocaching comic book by the geocaching blogger and illustrated by our buddy Komakino. That is going in there. Logbook is going in there. And we're gonna seal it up. I also had the time to finish off two other geocaches. So one is this log. I painted this actual piece of wood, and there's a little micro cache hidden inside that, and that looks like out of the pages of a comic book as well. And I also gave that distinct look to that preformed tube, so that looks like it's jumped out of the pages of a comic. So with these three caches built and hidden, now we just have to wait for the Cache Bash to arrive. So what I'm gonna do is keep an eye out on all the logs, all the find logs as they appear, and I will keep all of you updated within the month so that I can share what people have been saying about this geocache. Maybe they will add their superhero or supervillain geocaching alter egos to this. But if you want to stay up to date in all of that, make sure to subscribe. And until those updates, we'll find you at the next cache.